The streets are buzzing. New York Knicks, big time win. Great performance today at MSG, holding the Spurs to 89 points, winning 114 to 89. Best defensive display on the season, snapping the San Antonio Spurs 11-game win streak, right, and holding them to the highest turnovers on their season. Let's break this down, ladies and gentlemen. Go New York, go. Grittiness, right, sharp, offensive-minded, toughness, grit, three-point ball, wing stop. We saw everything, man, on display today, and sweet revenge as the New York Knicks get one back over the Spurs, holding Victor Wembanyama in check. You see Landry Shamet, man, climbing high on this one. Great to have you with us, fam, on the reaction. Let's break this down. Welcome in. Chat, I see you buzzing already. Smashing that like button. Replay squad, what's up? Knicks Nation, feeling good after this one, man. Statement performance, man. This could be the statement performance on the season. Obviously, you got NBA Cup, some other big wins, but this was done emphatically, man. 114 to 89. And after a slow start in the first quarter, the Knicks turned it up, right? Playoff intensity and playoff defense, which you love to see, right? Right out of the gate, guys, the thing that was clear to me, man, they were getting into their sets so much quicker, getting the ball up the court from Brunson to Alvarado, Bridges, right? Some sloppiness from Hart early, right? They were making him shoot it, and Josh Hart found other ways to make them pay in the second, third, fourth quarter after a slow start, right? But Mikal Bridges, his statement performance on the season, right? Not ducking contact on that one, man. He's hearing the noise, right? Shout out to Mikal Bridges, man. He's going to get one of the game balls today for me, and we're going to give out one more other game ball as well. Let's do a roll call. Al Tango, buzzer beater, Elliot, great to see you. Johnny Chiba, G Money, Chancellor's in the house. Simon, what's good? What a performance, guys. Yeah, holding the Spurs, man, to just 89 points, man. And Mohamed Diwara continues to shine, fam. They left him open. The Spurs defense, man, had more cracks, right, than the New York City pavement, because the Spurs had to go zone, right, and they continued to make them pay from downtown. Shout out to Diwara, shout out to Mike Brown. I really like Jose Alvarado's performance too, fam. He was plus 20 in a limited role off the bench too. Mohamed Diwara splashing it, right? But arguably his best possession was this one, guarding Stephon Castle with his giant wingspan and getting the block on Stephon Castle, man. He can do it all. He can do no wrong. Can Mo Diwara. We need to see more Mo Diwara in this one. What's good? Lewis says at this point, Mo got to keep getting more time, man. You're speaking facts like every Knicks fan thinking right now. And even Mike Malone, fam, former championship coach, said on the call that, you know, hard luck for Jeremy Sohan in this situation. But we'll talk about it later tonight, because I think Sohan is a situational defender that, you know, probably going to get a few chances later in the season. But Mo's back in the rotation, man, and Mike Brown definitely did a good job getting him back in, man. It was the obvious call, but you know, it's obviously what Mo can do on both sides, man. It's just not even a conversation right now. You know, he was really making them pay, and will continue to make them pay. He's still knocking them down too. He had so many attempts in this one. But yeah, Alvarado, what I really liked in this one was getting downhill. Everyone was playing with purpose. Everyone was playing with a certain speed and intensity and a playoff intensity that we know we're going to see. And the Knicks, you know, had to have a good opponent to realize the situation. And they absolutely turned in one of their best performances on the season, man. Getting downhill and getting into their sets quickly, and the paint sprays, fam, splashing the 3 ball. Elliot says great shooting by McHale. Yep, we're going to dial up the game ball because as we continue to shout out our guys, man, so many heroes to shout out. Really like Mitch's performance on the glass. Really like Kat's performance on the glass as well. And of course, captain was captain, fam. But most of y'all been saying, and knowledgeable Knick fans know, man, we go as far as wings stop. We'll take this club, fam. Johnny Chiba's been talking about it recently as well, and I will say it again and again, but what a vintage Wingstop performance, man. It was Wingstop buffet. Wingstop, we gave them all they could handle right now, and OG was phenomenal guarding Wemby. That's why I really want to see some certain small ball lineups, right? It works against Joel Embiid. It works against Philadelphia. We haven't seen it against Detroit. I need Mike Brown to really replicate what he's doing with this situation with the rotations, man, because Detroit are waiting for us, man. I'm ready right now, but super hype, man. Blessings on this Sunday. Hope everyone is doing well. Obviously, there's a lot of craziness going on in the world right now, but I want to take a moment, man, to wish everyone many blessings and happiness and health. Take care of your family and loved ones, and let's rock out today. And salute our New York Knicks, man. We here. What a great performance, man, against one of the best teams in the league, a championship contender, a championship favorite out west. The San Antonio Spurs and OKC, man, are the two favorites to do battle out west, and the New York Knicks just undressed them at Madison Square Garden. Shout out to the crowd as well, man. The crowd was on fire today, right? And we continue to roll these clips. Glenn Jones, my man's in the building. Queen's Place. Lonnie Meeks. What's good, Paul? And Ricardo's in the house. Great to see everyone, man. Johnny says, as long as Knicks play good D, the offense will come. Yeah, turning defense into offense, man. Vintage Knick performance, man. Little Jose Alvarado, man. It ain't the size of the fight, the dog in the fight, the size of the fight in the dog. He reminds me of John Starks, man, running around Madison Square Garden like a madman, right? But he was in passing lanes. He was all up in people's grill, playing with that moxie too. But great kick out from JB to find Diwara in this one, man. There's been a lot of talk about who's a comp or who's a good comp for Mo Diawara. So let's start the first question today, fam. Who does Mo Diawara remind you of? I mean, we're seeing new things every game, but this has been said before, and a lot of people talking about Siakam. But yeah, what do you guys think about Lamar Odom, fam? He reminds me a lot of Lamar Odom, fam. Once a Knick, always a Knick. Shout out to Lamar Odom, right? Had a huge career, but he was a quintessential Swiss Army knife before Josh Hart. Lonnie says, why can't we get this from Macau more often? Let's hope he's saving it, man. Let's hope he's saving some gas in the tank for these kind of performances, man. Because, yeah, I've been saying it for a minute, and a lot of other Knick fans have been saying it. I ain't saying I'm the first one to say it, but this team is full of playoff risers, right? When the stakes are big, such as the NBA Cup, such as, you know, these other games like today, national TV, like Lonnie said, we turn it up. But we just want to see it all the time. But the thing is, Mike Brown, he ain't as intense as Tibbs. So I think that's something. One of the reasons, you know, he's kind of a chill, casual, laid-back kind of dude is Mike Brown. Because he's been around the block. But when we lock in, man. We really lock in. You know, I always said it, man. We're going to be tough to beat 4 out of 7. That's the biggest thing. You could catch the Knicks on an off day. But when we lock in like this, as we see Cat take it strong baseline, I like Cat's performance outside of a couple of the sloppy fouls. You know, got done for the hook once again. Hopefully that doesn't hurt us in the playoffs. But what can we say about Cat, man? He's dominant on the glass and he's playing under control. And we navigated the Wemby situation because Wemby's been killing people around the league. As John Starks is all of us today. And after a a nervy start. The Knicks put on the Jets in the second quarter, got up by 10, and you knew that they were going to make a run, right? But we also made the Spurs give up their biggest run on the season, fam. A 26-2 run in the final 7:15, fam, in the second quarter. This was in the second quarter, and we didn't even really allow the Spurs to make too much of a run as well. Great touchdown pass from Josh Hart I mentioned Josh Hart earlier. The shot wasn't going early, but yeah, he was really making them pay. And I really like OG's performance today. Paul says Brown has to let the kid play. Diwara. Mo D. Glenn, shout out. Good win. We always play good against San Antonio. Got to figure out the Pistons and the Celtics in the playoffs. But this is a great win. We need more of it. Yeah, confidence building win, Glenn. And, we've got some tough games coming up. We've got Toronto. Got to get at it in the 6 on Tuesday. And then we got Oklahoma on a back-to-back, fam, as well. But, yeah, you can handle the Spurs. You can handle anyone. So that's a good sigh of relief for any skeptical Knicks fans. Now, you still might not think we're going to win the championship, but pummeling the San Antonio Spurs has got to give you some level of hope that we can break the championship drought. Because, like I said, San Antonio ain't pretenders, fam. They're the real deal. And if we play like this, we can beat anyone. Now, we just have to play like this more often. And I think the pace was the tone setter for me early, fam. Getting into our sets early. But look, obviously Stefan Castle is a great defender, but they don't have an Orsar Thompson. They don't have, your Alex Caruso's, Kayson Wallace's. So there are more defensive, tests that the Knicks are going to face. But if we play fast and we don't allow their defense to get set too quickly, and Brunson, shout out to him for setting the tone and swinging the ball around, fam. Don't think we're going to hear too many Knicks fans complaining about Brunson's usage in this one. And like I said, I talked about Cat playing under control, fam. This is the kind of thing that I've noticed with Cat recently. A couple of months ago, this would have been an out-of-control drive, right? He was patient, put the ball on the deck a couple of times, but didn't go 100% to the rack. He put his man on his hip, and he got the and one, right? Smaller man in the weight room, and Karl Anthony Towns got the and one. What's up, Daniel Berry? Chancellor says Diwara's comp is like 65-70% OG right now. Man, the sky's the limit, Just hearing you say that or listening to this comment, yeah, it opens up a lot of possibilities. We talked about it in the last stream. Somebody mentioned in the chat that, it does make one of the other wings more expendable. I'd love to hold on to all of them, fam, but we've got to get Diwara on a friendly contract first, fam. You guys throw some numbers out there, right? The more they're playing Diwara, the more that contract is going up. But guess what? The Knicks will have restricted bird rights to keep a hold of our 51st pick, fam. How ironic. He wears number 51. He's the 51st pick, fam. Spurs have the alien, Wemby. What about Area 51, Muhammad Diwara? Fam, he's out of this world right now. Johnny Chiba says today's game was reminiscent of the latest win streak. Great D, wing stop usage, a large part of the game. Yeah, shout out to Brunson, for setting the tone. But also, we gave McCall and OG the game ball too. But yeah, whatever Brunson set the tone, Alvarado replicated, fam. Look at this play, man. This had me so excited because this is what I want to see more of. Jose Alvarado bringing the ball up with purpose, fam. Getting McCall an easy bucket, guys. What a fascinating notion to get your teammate an easy bucket. We haven't seen a lot of that this season, guys, but McCall was running the floor and made Wemby pay on that one. So, look, good signs. If you guys want more in-depth analysis, from what we can see in the playoffs, I think one way we can make teams pay with Josh Hart out there is obviously not new, but when he doesn't shoot well, what what the defense can't afford to do is still ignore him. But it's up to Josh Hart and the other guys to switch quickly to, constant movement, constant player movement, and we're a threat on the glass. Today we killed them, right? We grabbed the rebounds, the loose balls, because San Antonio were just out of position, right? Hart was making them pay, and they were losing men all over the place because we were playing with pace as well. As you see, 3D Diwara knocked that one down too. But I love our response too, because we got challenged early, fam. It didn't look like it was going to go our way, early in this one. PR Blaze, what's good? Cool Mo D is a player. I love that nickname as well, fam. I'm asking everyone, what's a good comp that you feel for Diwara? I think Lamar Odom right now. I think his ceiling is higher than Lamar Odom, but I think he's got the handle, he's got the length, he's a great rebounder already, but I think he's probably a better three-point shooter right now. Elliot says Cat was given the ball while in motion instead of being used as a hub. Yeah, I think we were definitely taking advantage of San Antonio, who are a good defense, but our speed was just too much for them, fam. Maybe they were out enjoying the city a little too much, but we'll take it. But we definitely earned this win, man. Nobody can take this win away from the New York Knicks. It wasn't a shorthanded team. It wasn't a team coming off some back-to-back. This was a mono-a-mono national TV gritted out game where both teams treated it like a playoff game. And also you had the spice of the NBA Cup too. So Spurs had all the juice to come out and play hard in this one. What's up, old 28B2 says, good to see Bridges and Hart came to work today. Yeah, we'll bring you up to speed with who gets defensive player of the game. But it'll be interesting to see who ends up getting it, right? The Knicks have not announced it yet. We'll talk about what's popping around the East too. But yeah, confidence building win, holding the Spurs to just 89 points, fam. Who said our defense is broken? Mitchell Robinson skying high for the Ute. They have been finding Mitch a lot more recently, which is good. And look, for those that were down on Mike Brown, probably some people still out on Mike Brown, each to their own. But I do feel like the aim this season, guys, was to make use of practice. Thibodeau didn't practice a lot. Yeah, he played guys a lot of minutes, but he refused to practice as much to compensate. Now, Mike Brown been playing guys less minutes but more practice. So every time I've kind of been challenged this season, we've come out and responded, right? We've obviously had that 4-game losing streak that was bad, but outside of that, we'll put together quite a few streaks. We'll take a look at the rest of the schedule. We've got less than 2 months to go in the season, man. It's lock-in time right now because it's money time, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this, man. This is Knicks 70s Bowl, man. Harlem Globetrotter. Macau, Cat sets the pick. Cat actually rolls. Josh Hart with the bounce pass to Macau with the hockey assist too. So this is supreme execution, and Victor Wembanyama, man, was caught lacking in this one. So everything was done with purpose today. Much higher intensity. And I think we finally got out of fourth gear in this one today, fam. Cool D Rap was the 51st pick. Shez V, crazy steal. We were a thief in the night, man. Thank goodness Mo Diawara was a diamond hiding in France, man. If he played college ball, yeah, he would have been a first-round pick. But also a comment to someone, I said, pro ball, man, that's what really helped Mo Diawara get ready too, fam, because, Huck Porty played pro ball. He looked pretty good last season. Pro ball can really help these guys, I think, prepare for the league better than college. College, you're going up against kids, some kids, and some men in children's bodies. But in terms of college, right, it ain't the same as the pro game. Muhammad Diwara looks confident shooting, and he makes the right reads as well. You learn that from the pro game, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we talk about Mose D, his size, his three-point ball. What about some of the underrated things about Muhammad Diwara, right? The game does not look sped up for Cool Mo D. He's reading the action and more chemistry with the teammates, right? And he never should have lost his minutes, right? I get Sohan being given an opportunity, but it should have been, combined with Diawara continuing to play. Marcus Brunson got to rest. Yeah, it was good in the end. I think Mike Brown could have got them out earlier, could have got them out of the game with more than 2 minutes to go, but won't complain, right? Some time to rest up now, and a West Coast road trip coming up real soon. Johnny Chiba says smart basketball equals lack of dumb turnovers and fouls. Hello, Kat and Josh Hart. They corrected their mistakes. They came correct, definitely in this one. But, when you're playing with the right level of, as we look at some of the highlights against Milwaukee as well with Diawara, right? When you are not overthinking, like sometimes Hart just overthinks, and you're making snappy decisions, playing on instinct as well. The chemistry should be there now. 65, 70 games with these guys and plenty of practice as well. As you see Diawara harassing Cam Thomas the other night too. So we rewind all the way back to the start of today's action, right? Landry Shamet continues to be a key part of this team, man. Landry was big time with his defense as well. It was a total team effort today as we check. Have they released Defensive Player of the Game? Going to bring it up right now and bring you some reactions from the locker room, right? But yeah, Mikal Bridges' best performance on the season, right? It was absolutely phenomenal, right? We've got all of JB's highlights that we're going to bring up as well. But 25, 5, and 5 steals, 5 rebounds. Mikal Bridges was phenomenal today, right? And he was the support that Brunson's been needing for a hot minute. Great to have everyone in the building. Click that like button. You've got the Nick Streets buzzing. Old says, big up to Coach Brown for excellent minutes management. Great to see that, I like to see people shout out Brown because, he's a scapegoat at times, he's deserved some criticism as well. But for the most part, I don't think any of our struggles have really been on Brown this season outside of some poor rotation decisions. But the players themselves just needed to pick it up and play with better intensity, Defensively, they were all up in these Spurs, to not allowing them to get downhill quickly, Optimus 2G says Diawara can start on the team next year if he has a good summer in the weight room. 100% agree, I think, as, you'll see Bridges get older, maybe it's not next year or the year after that, but it's so critical, man, when you're competing for a championship to hit on a couple of draft picks, or more than a couple of draft picks, because, you see other teams start to bring guys up like Dennis Jenkins, Miami always brings up dudes. You got the Boston Celtics find, Hugo Gonzalez and all these dudes out of Jordan Walsh and, finding rotation pieces, out of the diamond in the rough. And the New York Knicks haven't quite done that over the years, right? We found a couple of guys like Deuce, Mitchie, but to find guys like Shamet obviously was a known commodity, but not many teams wanted to take a chance on him. We did. We found Diawara. We found Tyler Kolek. Kevin McCullough looks the business as well. Got some minutes late too tonight. Shout out to Kevy McCullough as well. He's been playing well. And what happens if Pacome Dardier takes a leap? Now, I was glad the Knicks didn't trade Pacome Dardier because the dude's 19, 20, and he might just take a little longer to develop. That's okay. but you'd never sell a stock at its lowest point when it comes to a Dardier. Too, he's got his French brother here. He might pick it up. But speaking of picking it up, fam, everyone in the plus, right? Every single player, even garbage time, was in the plus too. Jose Alvarado dished out 5 dimes, so that was a standout to me. Diwara obviously got up 13 threes, man. You love to see him not hesitant. Now, a lot of those threes are in garbage time, fam, so some of y'all that didn't catch the action might have thought, hey, what's Diwara on? 4 of 13? But rest assured, man, he knocked down a lot of the threes when the game was in the balance. And a lot of the threes came in garbage time, but still finished a plus 18, 4 rebounds, 14 points from Diwara, one of his highest scoring games of his young career. Brunson and Bridges, 24-25 apiece. Bridges was a plus 21, team high. The Knicks 27 dimes, right? 13 turnovers, playing at a faster speed, but dominated on the glass in this one, which you'll love to see, right? Holding San Antonio to just 26% from downtown, man. It was no more champagne, right? Finally, we locked down and we clamped down on Justin Champagne, who's been killing us, and the Spurs only shot 26%, man. Our rotations were great. The closeouts were great, too. And look, the Spurs only got 5 blocks, so look, Victor Wembanyama had 25 points, but it felt like a quiet 25. You guys let me know. What did you feel about Wemby's performance? Yeah, his presence was always there, He's not going to hide at his size and impact, but I think the Knicks adjusted really well to Wemby. They weren't trying to challenge him early, but late, when they did get into foul trouble, they were more aggressive going to the rack. But we absolutely beat them down on the glass, 65 rebounds to the Spurs 50, right? Mitchell Robinson was elite, and Karl Anthony Towns was elite with the rebounds, man. Josh Hart as well. Hart finished with 10 bounds, 10 points, double-double. Picked it up in the second half. Cat with 14 grown man rebounds and a plus 21 for Mikal Bridges too. I gave the double game ball to Wingstop today, right, for helping hold San Antonio to their lowest score on the season, right? They gave up the biggest run to the Knicks on the season, and they had the most turnovers of their season as well, right? So don't know if they thought today was going to be easy, but we damn sure made them work for every single bucket today. We made their offense look ordinary at times, man. We forced them into a lot of isolation, late shot clock, and our box outs were on point too, because we were grabbing those offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, and we were closing out these possessions. Louis Cypher, salute. Mo D played well, but got a little shot happy. Yeah, a lot of them came late in the game, but you love the confidence just to keep shooting. Hopefully that can rub off on Josh Hart. Mark says Mo was running the offense for a while. That's what makes him a Lamar Odom type, fam. He could be a hybrid point forward. Once he grabs the rebound, he can go, and he can make things really happen, as you see here, right? Now, the thing is with Mo in this one, he was looking to pass first, but he saw that Cat was sealed off, and he made the sensible decision to shoot over Wemby. How long until the scouting report adjusts, right? What's Wemby doing, man? You've already got someone on Cat, and he closes out on Diwara, and then he sags back, right? And Diwara, Mo makes him pay with the splash, too. So I think the scouting report definitely got to correct itself, too. But do we really need Sohan with Diwara playing defense like this? What I love about Mos D is he gets down in a stance, right? That's classic 90s ball You don't see many players his size get down in a legit defensive stance, knees bent, shorts pulled up, arms out, extending his size. And Stefan Castle, man, was seeing a brick wall, right? He's wishing he was passing that ball. Right there was Stefan Castle, because Mo D was locking down with the D. Shez V says, that's telling. Clarkson got no minutes, the only player. Yeah, usually, the coach will ask a veteran, do you want to go out there? Last couple of minutes, a lot of these veterans got a lot of pride. So probably it was like, play the young kids. But yeah, you're right. Clarkson out of the rotation now. And the rotation just seems so much more balanced, so much more, in sync with these guys. But what a pickup from Jose. Let's talk about Jose Alvarado's game some more, because 5 dimes was a plus 20, but pushed the pace every single time. Had so many passes like this, a lot of the wraparound, making them pay, to defense collapsing. Luke Cornett looked completely lost, fam, like he was seeing visions out there. Right, Luke Cornett, we made him look slow-footed, like he is, You got to get Luke Cornett moving around, man. He's been killing us just by standing in the paint most of the time, but we worked them around in this one. Queen's Place, I like this one. Wemby's highlight move was the travel. Yeah, he had the big dunk, but we were ahead at that point, and they were working their way to try to come back. But that just speaks to our defense. ESPN, they were trying to glaze Wemby all coverage, man. Even when they were down 15, they were rolling Wemby highlights, and I'm like, what? But I get it. It's a national TV broadcast. Some people don't get the chance to look at, guys like that very often. But if they don't know what the Knicks can bring, now they know. Everyone tuning in, from the neutrals to the haters to the loyals. They saw a vintage Knicks performance, man. Eat that, Kenny, Chuck, and Ernie, and everyone else covering this one, right? You had Mike Malone, Ryan Ruocco on the call, right? Man, we miss Breen. We miss Breen and Clyde in this one. It would have been a great game for Breen and Clyde to have on this one. Here is another drive and kick from Mr. Jose Alvarado, right? He's a blur right there, but Jose pushed the break and found Mo D for another 3. Now, yeah, Mike Malone was talking about how pretty Mo Diawara's jump shot is. What also is very underrated, guys, is his quick high release too. Some players got a lower release. Mo Diawara, it's tough to close out on him because he's 6'9", but he's got that high release as well. So you love to see Mo D keep splashing, and it's really tough to block, right? Even Castle couldn't get close to this one, man. We had the celebrity row popping today as well. But yeah, the defense was the story in this one today, guys, and the pace. What's up, Michael Drake? Great to see you. CT, they showed Wemby highlights, dunk 6 times. I had the volume down. Yeah, you already know. You already know what it is, They're definitely trying to hype Wemby up as the next face of the league. I get it, for ratings and all of that. But nobody puts more eyes on the league than the New York Knicks. That's a fact. I can say that, guys, because the NBA Cup viewership, Christmas Day viewership, all the games with the Knicks have had the highest ratings today, right? Obviously, will come out as well, but this was a big-time performance, man. You had a lot of haters give the Knicks props too. You had, what's his name, Vinny Goodwill, covers the league for ESPN, but formerly of the Detroit Pistons beat. Mark says, if we are gonna need Sohan if we play Pistons. I agree with you. I agree. I think that's fair. I've been thinking about certain matchups, matchup dependent. It's okay to realize that Sohan might be needed at times, but not as much as Diawara. in terms of a regular rotation spot. But to get through the playoffs and win a championship, it's 4 rounds, you know. Survival of the fittest. It's a marathon, and it's, you know, first to win 16 wins the chip. So you're going to need everyone, you know. Last year it was Campaign that won us a playoff game, and then he disappeared, but that's okay because he helped us win a playoff game. And this year it might be a Sohan stop, might be a Sohan moment that brings us to where we need to be, right? But right now he's just got to be patient, and Mike Brown had to get back to a semblance of a correct rotation where guys feel uncomfortable with each other, with good spacing, you know, pieces that fit with size defensively as well. And I think we got it with Diwara and Jose Alvarado, Landry off the bench with Mitchell Robinson, fam. The key 9-man rotation with Hart having his iffy moments, but still effective when he needs to be, you know. We know Hart is a kind of a heart in mouth kind of dude, but he can make you pay still if you ignore him. That's what we're counting on with Josh Hart. I just think we've got to lower his minutes and not overplay him. As you see, one of Hart's best plays, good synergy with OG Anunoby getting downhill. Quick to recognize the closeout, the miss. And yes, Spurs did not shoot well, fam. 26% from downtown. So that is a welcome sight and a sigh of relief too. How many teams have killed us from downtown, even in these close games? Yeah, AP, great to see you in the building. Shea Signature's with us. Salute, Doug Fresh. And Queen's Place's Chuck and Shaq are loving the Knicks right now. Yeah, I think Shaq been paying a lot of respect to Cat. Obviously, Shaq wants to see the big man dominate. Yeah, and Chuck's been saying I think the Knicks are favourites for a minute. I think they've got a lot of respect for Brunson, first and foremost. And look, Brunson has the points on the board, you know. Over the last 3 postseasons, nobody's been more clutch than Brunson, outside of maybe the Joker and Shea. So all these people hyping up Cade, I get it. He's having a phenomenal season. But you ain't got the points on the board when it counts yet. Let's see you in the playoffs, right? Let's see when teams can scheme against you, man, to highlight your deficiencies and weaknesses, man. How about that? What's going to happen with Cade Cunningham with no shooters around him and they swarm him, man, on a straitjacket? Let's see how Cade Cunningham handles that. Regular season ball, man, it's a different sport. It really is, right? The best players, the minds, the schemes and all that come to play when it comes to the postseason, and every single game, you know, you're against the same team. So it's adjustments, it's putting you in spots that make you uncomfortable, right? No one really does that in the regular season. It's literally just roll the ball out, let them play, you know, see who comes out on top. But no, when the playoffs come, the stakes are too high for that. It's dirty plays, it's scheming, it's hacker Mitch, it's everything you can drum up and the kitchen sink to try to, you know, beat the other team, man, and all of that. So I cannot wait to see the first couple of rounds and see how Detroit can do. El Tango 45, GTA and Macau are playing great together. Yeah, good chemistry. You know, one of the lineups I proposed, fam, you know, in one of the recent shows, suggests that those guys, you know, would work well together off the bench. You know, in a perfect world, this is my, you know, playoff starting lineup with Deuce McBride and Shamet. You know, with Diwara, Hart, Alvarado, Mikal, and Mitch off the bench. But obviously, Deuce isn't here at the moment. We've got to see when he can get back, hopefully sooner rather than later. But also, a starting 5 I would love to see in the meantime is Diwara with Landry, with the spacing and the defense too. I think that would work effectively. Like I said, Hart has his moments that you love to see him, you know, rebound, push the break, make plays. You know, we love his playmaking. But also at the same time, Josh Hart does hurt you with the hesitation and some of the turnovers. But he corrected that. You know, he corrected that later today. I missed the whole game, says AP. Yeah, you missed a classic, but you're in the right place for the breakdown as our New York Knicks played with fervor, energy, pushing the break, as you see Alvarado getting guys easier buckets today. And the Spurs were just pushed back on their heels. And we punched early, and they weren't able to really punch back. I think they cut a double-digit lead from the Knicks down to 8 or 9, but they weren't really able to make it 7. From the second quarter all the way to the end, the Spurs were not able to get it back within under 7. So the Knicks were comfortable for most of the game because our defense was getting stops. But we continued to produce high-quality looks, you know. And Diwara looks like a player, man, who's playing beyond his years, because I think the pro ball game and mentally he looks ready, right? How often have we had a rookie that's made such an impact? Fam, do we got to go all the way back to Iman Shumpert's rookie season? I'm not going to include Chris Stapps, not really going to include RJ Barrett, because those guys are high lottery picks. But you guys let me know. Name me a similar impactful Knicks rookie that was either late first round, second round. Mitchell Robinson's rookie season had some fine moments, but I don't think he looked as mature as Diwara is looking right now. I think Iman Shumpert rookie season was highly impactful. Timmy Hardaway, I think had a pretty solid rookie year as well with the 3 ball, but he was pick 18. I think Timmy Hardaway. So you expect a player that can contribute, I think, when you're picking like around the 18. But 51st, my God, man, Leon Rose, that was a steal. And I thank goodness our scouts were getting busy overseas. If you guys are locked into us, I've been talking about it for years now. But yeah, I've met Knicks scouts. They come to Australia to scout the NBL. We found Huck Porty. There's other diamonds in the NBL coming out. We'll talk about the draft coverage. But Walt Perrin, you know, the general manager assistant, leading the draft. We've got international scouts in Europe full-time. We were one of the first organizations to have a full-time scout in Europe. So shout out to our scouts. You know, year upon year, it doesn't always come to fruition. Fans don't get to see the finished product, but the scouts from the Knicks are overseas everywhere. Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, and everywhere, watching the talent, and they hit. Hopefully Dardier can become something as well. But the Mo Diawara one, man, that's worth a couple of hits when you're talking about the 51st pick. And it's kind of exactly what this Knicks team needed, you know? Exactly, in terms of like length, size, wingspan, can hit the 3. Legitimately 3. He's super 3D, in my opinion. Because, yeah, he ain't 6'9". Sorry, he ain't 6'7". He's 6'9". That's super 3D, in my opinion. Efrain Mendez, awesome win. CT, let's go Knicks. Great to see you. AP says, I want to see Detroit go down. Doug Fresh says, facts. Queen's Play says, yeah, different game in the playoffs. Michael Drake says, the Knicks defense looked great today. Held the rest of the Spurs right in a head choke. Yeah, it was WWE, man. We had him into submission. Once we controlled Wemby, it's literally how I see it playing out with Cade. Yeah. Cut off the head of the snake. Right. What do teams try to do to the Knicks? They try to, you know, cut Brunson out. If we cut Wemby out, we cut Cade out, they literally fall, they crumble, man. They'll crumble, fam. Just like a runner finishing a marathon that collapsed to their feet. Once you cut off the head of the snake, the other players get demoralized. They just don't. Guys were passing up open looks that they normally shoot. We had them rattled, fam, in this one. Efrain Mendez says Wilson Chandler. That's a great shout. Gallinari. We could talk about that as well. Gallo had a good rookie season. Shout out to Wilson too. That was really solid. Alonzo Trier, I think, is a good shout as well. Come up in the news recently. Alonzo Trier had a hell of a rookie year with not much impact after that. Sorry, not much hype. Buzzer Beater says Willis Reed was a second round pick. Yep, we hit on that one, but that's going way back. Mitch was constantly fouling in the first few seasons, says Shez V. Definitely. Michael says Diwara looking more like Siakam, right? CT's game is on point. Yeah, coming into a season with vets, that's key. I want to make this point about, New York City says Alonzo Trier. I think he's out of the game right now. But yeah, Zoe, man, he had a crazy first season. I think Tim Hardaway had a solid first season as well. Kevin Knox. Again, I can't really use Knox as a good example because he was a lottery pick. Knox had a pretty good rookie season. But with Sohan, right, I think him and his agent made that decision to come to the Knicks because they want to be around good vets. Right. Look at the Spurs. There was some feedback coming out of San Antonio that with all the young players there, all the young heads, Sohan is kind of a more mature guy. He just kind of didn't feel like it was, in the right place. He didn't feel a good fit. And he chose the Knicks because of our chances of winning a championship, but also he wanted to be surrounded by good veterans. And you see Mo Diawara, you see the benefit of him being surrounded by good veterans. Last season under Thibodeau, with the tough love of Tyler Kolek, you're seeing him have a huge impact as well in his sophomore season. So he's benefited from being in the presence of good veterans as well. Kodeska says Knicks have the Spurs number now. We have to figure out Detroit. Yeah, we got the soldiers too to take Detroit down. We just have to stay disciplined, right? Guard Cade one-on-one, but be physical and shut off the passing lanes. And I think we'll be Gucci because Detroit don't have the shooters. Right? Once we stay at home on the shooters and we can guard Cade one-on-one with OG and Sohan, I think we'll be fine, fam. We just got to let Duran and Isaiah Beef Stewart get into our heads. LB says, I missed the whole game, fam, except the last 4 minutes. Yep. Definitely a good rewatch, and you'll enjoy. But our highlights are rolling, so you'll see the dominance of our New York Knicks in this one. I think Brunson as well was in a little bit of a funk. He's come back in the last 2 games to dominate on the big stage. Altango, Coach Brown starting to use his personnel more effective. Yep, that was the start of things. It's amazing what works, when everything is in the right place. You're seeing players come in at the right times, the right substitutions, players that complement each other and fit. Today it was a little different. He got Jose Alvarado in earlier. Normally Brunson plays the entire first quarter, but the Knicks with Hart struggling, he got Landry Shamet, he got Jose into the ball game sooner as well. That had a huge impact because the Knicks went on a massive run and the Knicks got it popping. So shout out to Brown for making a good adjustment tonight. Right, he made quicker, sooner substitutions. Yeah, and also one of the least effective Wemby games, But yeah, we got more wings than you can imagine with Landry playing well, Hart, Macau, OG, Mo Diawara, Deuce will be back. You got Sohan on emergency watch, McCullough as well, man. When was the last time we had this many wings, man? We've got about 7, 8 wings that are all playable, right? In certain lineups. You love to see it. Chemistry starting to rise too. This is going to bring us so much more confidence. But like Johnny Chiba said last show, if Wingstop plays like this with OG and Macau, Yeah, we can beat anyone. And this is the 5 first-round pick version of Mikal Bridges, you know. Yes, he's been missing. Yes, he's been hiding a lot. But we all know his capability. That's what makes Knick fans more frustrated. That when we get this version of Mikal Bridges, this is 5 first-round pick version of Mikal Bridges, dominating big games, you know, and actually looking for contact. Michael says, I think Detroit is in the Knicks' head. If we beat the Spurs, why can't we beat Detroit? Matchups, fam. You know, styles make fights. But one thing we can say, Detroit 3 games this season, we haven't played them with our full squad. You know, there's been a couple of games with some players, one of the games with a lot of players missing. But for the most part, Detroit shot super hot. Detroit, in all 3 games against the Knicks, we let them shoot hot. So our defense just wasn't locked in. If our defense locks in, I don't think Detroit are going to give us that many problems. Now, it's still going to be a tough game. It's still going to be a back and forth kind of grind. But I don't think Detroit are going to look as good as they have against us if they're not shooting like they were. You know, our rotations were so much better, especially with Wingstop setting the tone, fam, and actually playing faster on D, right? Faster on offense, because Brunson, he was the culprit against some of these in some of the Detroit games, man. He was walking the ball up the court, too. We're dangerous when we're playing with that level of intensity, too. That's why I love Jose so much, man. He just gets it. He plays like Alonzo Trier. He plays like a guy like, you know, Dennis Smith Jr., Trey Burke, those former Knicks point guards that just got up quickly. Some of them were looking for their shot, but they were getting the ball up quickly. Don't let the defense get too comfortable. That way they can drape all over Cat. They can crowd our wings and all of that. So I think the pace is a huge element to the Knicks playing well. Buzzer Beater for Life says, Diwara look good. Kadeska says, it's a matter of the matchups. Yeah, we also haven't seen Jalen Duren. So we're going to need the best of Cat. Nothing has changed, guys, in the way of Cat has to be Cat. You know, has to be the all-star Cat when we do play Detroit, right? Now, there's probably a chance we could still beat Detroit, but 4 games out of 7 is going to be tough if we're not getting all-star level Cat, right? You've got to stay cool against Duren and Beef Stewart. Got to stay out of foul trouble. But you love his rebounding, right? It's about finding Cat in the right spots to stretch the floor out, and a quick decision Cat as well, especially down on the block. Al Tango says, someone teaching Mo D how to play lockdown D. Yeah, he's just been developing as the season goes, man, getting stronger. I love when, you know, against Boston, that big win in Boston, where he was picking up Jaylen Brown full court. That was a big performance from Mo D. But the 3-point ball has been key. And obviously the wingspan, the discipline. Like Tango said here, Mo Diwara, this ain't easy for a rookie, right? Has the right positioning, beats him to the spot, and stays vertical, right? This is a lesson to all the ballers out there, especially, you know, you want to see Cat and Josh Hart do this a lot more in terms of just staying vertical. But look, it's easy for Mo. It's easy. He's 6'10", with a million-inch wingspan. All he got to do is just hold his arms up, and it literally deters the shot against a smaller guy. Now, he's going to have to do this against Tobias Harris, you know, and against guys like, you know, Ron Holland, guys that are going to be aggressive getting to the rack. Too. Jaylen Brown, he already had a vintage performance against him, right? So let's take a look at in the spotlight, fam, because have faith that things were going to work out, and things have worked out in terms of just Mike Brown, you know, giving Sohan a chance. It was a good pickup, but right now he can stay situational for certain matchups. But Landry Shamet deserve all the minutes he's getting and some. And Mohamed Diwara, right, back into that rotation for 2 games now and has not disappointed, right? He's locked down his spot. Right? He's a playoff rotation player right now, man. His minutes might go down a little bit when it comes to the playoffs, but we've still got 22 games left. So, Diawara's still learning on the fly every single game against different opponents. Let's see him against Shea. Let's see him against Jamal Murray. Right, with some of these games coming up out west. Damn, we've got Oklahoma twice. I'd love to see him guard up on Shea. That'd be nice. AP Salute says, I would love to see what this team looks like with McBride back. You and me both. That's a great comment, great point, because I've been preaching the McBride impact so much, man. At this point, he's underrated, which is criminal, right? I need every Knicks fan to keep talking about Deuce McBride. Don't forget about him. He's been out for like 15 games in a row now, but I think he's our 3rd best player on any given night, right? And he deserves a lot more respect than he's getting. Does Deuce McBride, because he's a dynamic pull-up threat, right? The key to defeating Detroit is to take the pressure off of JB and Karl Anthony Towns, right? We can become a little predictable when other guys aren't hitting shots. Let's say Wing stops having a bad shooting day and Cat's all up in his head and Brunson's tunnel vision. Deuce McBride is the medicine. He's the remedy for our funk. Because you have another pull-up threat and suddenly they can't just key in on JB. Because we're seeing games where Deuce McBride against Boston when they were pressuring JB and Deuce McBride just went nuclear on them. So I think that extra pull-up threat is key. Clarkson's out of that rotation. So we really need the shooting. We really need that shooting that Deuce McBride provides. And I think if he can get back at least by the 2nd round, then that'll be ideal. Most definitely ideal. Getting Deuce back at least by the 2nd round, hopefully the 1st round. So what do you guys think? 9-man rotation? Or do you guys think a 10-man? Yeah, the hernias are serious, Buzzer. They are taking it extra cautious, which is fair enough. The Alvarado pickup obviously was so important for many reasons, for defense, for another ball handler. But I think they knew the severity of Deuce's injury before the trade deadline. Obviously, Deuce was already out at that point, and they went out and got Jose Alvarado, right? Let's not forget about Tyler, because he's balling out in the G League as well. And like that just goes to show how deep we are too, fam. Because, let's say we need Tyler the Creator, Tyler Knoll, as Buzzer likes to call him. He's there. He's ready. He's going to be ready if his number's called. And he brings some of that experience too. He's been playing a lot this season. So I think Tyler the Creator will get many opportunities next season. Look, I tell you what, Leon's going to have his work cut out in the summer, just retaining some of these guys. They're going to make a decision on Mitch. Deuce McBride's heading into the final year. He's extension eligible. Got to extend Mo Diawara. Got to keep Jose Alvarado, in my opinion. And I think they shouldn't have many problems keeping Alvarado, but they are going to be flirting with that second apron, going over the second apron. But the emergency of Tyler Kolek is there in case some team tries to, steal Alvarado, but I don't see it happening. Altango says, I agree at times we play hard a little too much. Yeah, sometimes it's good to just make that quicker substitution for the shooting, not let Hart, lose his confidence. He shoots one, he shoots two, and he misses a couple. then you make a quick sub. Mike Brown did that well today, fam. He got Alvarado and Landry in there quicker. I like this look as well, AP. McBride and Alvarado together at that backcourt defense. That's going to cause trouble. That's going to cause nightmares for the other team. Opposing backcourt, fam. Dennis Jenkins, Ron Holland. Those guys are going to go 100 miles an hour. I just pray for health for Deuce McBride, man. He deserves to be healthy and finish this season strong. You know, the guy's been playing on a below market contract for a couple of seasons now. Mitchell Robinson he got his bag. Let's hope Deuce McBride can at least stay healthy. NYC says, I think the key to beating Detroit is stopping Cade. The key to beating Indiana is stopping Hallie. Definitely, cut them off at the head of the snake. The thing that does make Detroit dangerous still, if guys are playing well, Tobias Harris has been hitting some tough contested shots. So we need to do a better job on Tobias Harris, because when the scoring pressure gets to Cade, usually it's Tobias that bails them out. They don't have Timmy no more. They don't have Malik Beasley no more. They don't have Dennis Schroeder no more. They've got Duncan Robinson. Got to stay attached to him. Jalen Duren's been taking a lot of scoring pressure off, but in the playoffs, he ain't really going to be stretching the floor out, in my opinion. Isaiah Stewart's going to bring the grittiness on D. He's going to try to create. He's going to try to create fights, start fights. I think is Isaiah Stewart, and we just got to stay disciplined, right? Pressure them, box them out like we did today, fam. If we can box Wemby out and neutralize Wemby, we can neutralize anyone, man. That's why we pay Wingstop what we paying, fam. Between these two guys, man, almost $100 million. Right, about $80 million combined for these two wings. We pay them to be legit when the moment is bright. And today they produced in spades, helping to neutralize Wembanyama. And Josh Hart did a phenomenal job as well. OG was trying to front Wemby. Hart would be there for help. And then it'd force Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper to make some tough decisions, right? And their shots just weren't going down, But when Macau is clicking like this, we're damn near unbeatable, especially when the other guys are clicking as well. But Macau Bridges steps up and just becomes that third scorer. We're a lot to handle, especially when he's knocking down the corner threes. He was knocking down the corner threes. So Midi Macau is back. Finally, right? Hopefully he's starting to peak at the right time of the season. But yeah, our wing depth is legit, Buzzer. You got McCullough. You got Mo Diwara, Landry on a vet's minimum. Point of attack defense with Alvarado. When we get Deuce McBride back, man, we here, just like the cap says, I think we're definitely going to get through the East if we can get a healthy McBride back. NYC says we stopped Harris when he played with Embiid and Maxey, not worried about him. Yeah, when the moment's bright, the real Tobias Harris is going to stand up, and that's the inconsistent one. Definitely right. We shut him down in Philly. What makes that Pistons matchup so crazy, and why they're so juiced up to take the Knicks down? You had Tobias Harris and Paul Reed on Philly. We sent them packing. You had JB Bickerstaff on the Cleveland Cavaliers 3 years ago. We sent him packing. And then all of the other boys on Detroit last season, we sent them packing. So it's legitimately, they hate the New York Knicks, man. They'll do anything to take the Knicks down, man. They're going to look at us like with a target like no other. And that's all they're going to be focused on. Hopefully they overlook the first and second round matchups. Right? as we pull up the table, the standings from today, right, the Knicks get even more separation for that third seed, ladies and gentlemen. So you love to see that, right? 39-22, right? We beat Toronto on Tuesday, and we almost get to the Phil Jackson Championship barometer, which is the 40-20 club, to be in the box seat to win a championship, ladies and gentlemen. They say 40 wins before 20 losses. I think if we get to 40-22, that ain't too bad, right? That ain't nothing to sneeze at. If we can get to 40-22, in my mind, that's as good as the 40-20. And then obviously we've got OKC and the Denver Nuggets as well. But as I said, the Knicks have 2 games up on the Cavaliers, guys, who the Knicks also have the season series. So essentially what it is it's a 3-game lead on the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? That's close. That's getting close to, super comfortable. Not going to say insurmountable, but with some tough games coming up, that's a good cushion, a 3-game cushion now. 2 games plus the tiebreaker essentially is a 3-game cushion, fam, which means home court in the first, second round, and also avoids the Detroit Pistons until the 3rd round, right? That means the Pistons have every chance of losing a 1st or 2nd round before they even get to the Knicks as well. So this win's critical today, guys, for our chances of going deep into the playoffs and cementing a 3rd seed, ladies and gentlemen. So give us a thumbs up for that. Big time performance, turned it on the big stage, right? But there's some other big news. Shout out to the Cat Panther, 16,000 career points, fam. Today, Karl Anthony Towns. Congrats, fam, on the career. 16,000 career points for Karl Anthony Towns, man. They call him the Big Bodega. I like to call him Cat Panther, right? Because we don't need Kitty Cat, right? We don't need Pink Panther. We need Cat Panther, ladies and gentlemen. Brother of the Black Panther. And he was saving Gotham in this one. The Cat Panther comes to play recently. And look, we just need him locked in. We need the energy and we need him dialed in on both sides. Now, the Knicks still have not announced the defensive player of the game, so we're going to continue to refresh, right? But we'll roll the entire game highlights in this one. What a block that one was, as the Knicks played both sides. Buzzer beater says, blow that horn. AP says, congrats, guaranteed. Hall of Fame awaiting 4,000 more points from Cat. Johnny Chiba says, Clarkson hanging on by a thread. Let him go. Don't need his scowl. We'll see. I think for chemistry, I think they want to see it out. Playoffs, you never know. An injury or two. I think Clarkson can be useful, but right now he's situational. We don't need him. I think we're so close to the finish line. Bringing in a new personality, cutting Clarkson, you're going to bring in a new personality into that locker room, and you kind of got to integrate everyone all over again. So I can understand if they hold on to Clarkson, but yeah, it just depends on whether or not, he forces it. Queen says the big cat. I like that one as well. The key thing is big. He needs to play big. Don't play small. Don't shrink in the big moment. Karl Anthony Towns experience, man. Wouldn't it be just so cool for so many reasons winning a championship with Cat this season, because it will fulfill the prophecy of his mother, a lifelong Knicks fan, but also Cat, many of us wanted us to get that first overall pick going back in the day. D'Lo Russell. You had Jahlil Okafor, Chris Stapps, Phil Jackson and whatnot. We ended up slipping down to the 4th overall pick, man. And we had the, ESPN, we had Stephen A, Rappaport, and that crying kid on ESPN clown us, right, for missing out on the top overall pick, right? We ended up with Chris Stapps with the crying kid, and we didn't get Karl Anthony Towns or Jahlil Okafor. But Karl Anthony Towns was the guy that made the most sense in that one. But here we are, fast forward, 10 years later, Karl Anthony Towns is a New York Knick, man, going on a championship run. You can't make it up, right? There'll probably be a documentary made, ESPN 30 for 30, Karl Anthony Towns, NBA champion with the New York Knicks, right? COVID, the whole thing with his mother passing away sadly and tragically, and all of the stuff that he endured in Minnesota, getting traded, man. That would make for a 30 for 30, man. Let alone the whole Knicks championship could make a 30 for 30 on that one. Definitely. Buzzer says, off topic, is Tyson going to fight Floyd? I heard that, which is, it's whack. But least I checked was Tyson, so Floyd going to fight Pac. Floyd Mayweather Pacquiao, number 2. Not sure about the Tyson one. I think that might go ahead as well. But yeah, it's just a money-making exhibition, fam. Like Rocky 6, Rocky Balboa, the number 6 one, when he fought an exhibition. Margaret Salute says, yeah, that is true. Nick should have had number 1 pick. Now we have him. Cat. Yeah, there's not many times we get a chance to rewrite history. But Mikal Bridges is another one, right? Mikal Bridges was the pick that made the most sense, fam. And we ended up choosing Kevin Knox. We tried to go for the upside swing, and it just did not work out. We ended up with KNICKS, but Mikal Bridges was the pick. That was the pick that made the most sense. I know some Knick fans wanted Miles Bridges. I think that made sense as well over Kevin Knox. But yeah, we went for the high upside pick, and we just couldn't develop at that point. Partly due to Kevin Knox's game, but partly due to also just the situation the organization was in. But yeah, like you guys said, credit to Porzingis. He turned it up. Yeah, they are both kind of probably struggling financially at some point, fam. Taxes and the spending. The thing is, when you ain't fighting like you used to fight, when you ain't playing ball like you used to play, the money can run dry. Especially from the upkeep, the mansions, the houses, taking care of family, all these things, man. Floyd will probably be fighting till he's 70, man. It's a sad situation, but he's making money still, so I can't hate on it. I'm not gonna be paying for the pay-per-view. I watch fighters fight in their prime, UFC, boxing, and all of that, but I hate to watch fighters past their prime, fam. Right? It's a knock on the sport. Shay says, "Do you guys realize how good of a passer Mo is?" I'm high on his passing, but like you said, maybe it's even better. Maybe it's even better. He could be a point forward later in his career too. A Muskanyal comps for for Big Mo. I think Lamar Odom is a good one. I like the Siakam one. What else could we think of? We got Siakam. We got Lamar Odom. I think there's other guys, Sean Marion. Sean Marion's one that I've heard people talk about. To me, now that I think about it, minus the athleticism, he does have flashes of Obi. with more defense, less athleticism, more defense and length. But when he's dribbling the ball and he's just so athletic, in stride, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Obi as well. That it's tough. It's tough coming up with a full comp because we haven't seen this before. We haven't seen a jumbo Knicks wing. I think at his size, he might be pushing 6'10", 6'11", if he's going to keep growing, fam. Now Mo's 20, going on 21, so he's probably finished growing for the most part, but he might get to 6'10", 6'11". Well, he's as good as 6'11" with the wingspan. The thing is, he can just stand up with the hands up as well. So yeah, good comment from Shay. AP says we should have drafted Brunson. Yeah, that's a point too. Who knows if we would have kept Brunson? That's the thing. I think patience, things have a way of working out. Mitchell Robinson we held on to, Deuce McBride. Super happy about that. Bam. Super success story really to find Deuce and Mitchie in the second round. And it's going on like 7 years now. 6, 7 years. They're still a Knick. Yeah, it's got to be more than 6. Mitch has been more than, I think they're in their 7th season right now. It's definitely 6 or 7. But yeah, and obviously Deuce is under contract for another year. Hopefully we can extend Mitchie. Those guys might be 10-year career Knicks from the second round. That'd be awesome. Considering, we drafted Tim Hardaway. People thought he was a future wing. We ended up bringing him back. Steve Mills, David Fizdale, Scott Perry ended up giving that 4-year bag to Tim Hardaway to bring him back. We gave up on Shumpert too soon, but after the ACL, Shumpert he was never the same player. Quentin Grimes couldn't quite get off the runway. So many players showed flashes, but never fulfilled their potential. Kristaps Porzingis, RJ Barrett, just so many recent draft picks not able to stick around. Quentin Grimes was starting to peak, and then we obviously moved him on. A lot of those guys, man. We drafted that dude, Ousmane Dieng. We sent him to Oklahoma. Pacome Dardier still around. Wouldn't it make up for the Frankie Ntilikina one if Dardier and Diwara, the French connection, was able to click? Right. Not going to say it's going to completely erase, because that Ntilikina pick set us back. That Ntilikina pick could have been Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker. But if Diwara and Dardier click at the right time and help us win a championship in the future, that'll make up for some of the French, the broken French connection. Now it's the French connection. AP says Mills draft Michi. Yep. Buzzer says we got the 4th weakest schedule. Yep, the schedule's not too bad. Ephraim says his D and shooting are his strengths. Definitely team first guy. The playmaking is what's most intriguing, If he could put the ball on the deck, we are looking at a guy like a Siakam ceiling, which is crazy because Siakam's an all-star. If you can find an all-star with the 51st pick, you've got a lot of credit in the bank, man. You've got a lot of credit in the bank for a long time. And it's important, if you are 3-and-D, it's important you can put the ball on the deck. Because, there's been a lot of 3-and-D guys that just catch and shoot. Kyle Korver, a lot of dudes, Corey Kispert, a lot of dudes, Duncan Robinson, kind of just catch up, couple dribbles, shoot. But the fact that Diwara can make some plays, can post up, looking like he can do the little spin move up and under deal and defend at this level, man. All in his rookie season, right? It's insanity how good this guy could be, On the Mills thing, Bruzzer says a broken clock is right twice a day, AP. Mills was not good. Yeah, wrong place, wrong time. I think Mills played it way too safe. Was happy to give out too much money. Scott Perry, I don't mind. Scott Perry made some very good decisions with Mitchie holding on to all of our first round picks, but he was far from great. He was just average. I think Scott Perry, but he did make some good calls, right? But yeah, given signing all those power forwards, man, was crazy. Drafting Kevin Knox, right, was risky. There were some other dudes there available too, but Leon has some misses as well. Obi Toppin draft, missing out on Kenny Advidar, Tyrese Halliburton, and Devin Vassell will forever be on his record, right? I would swap Devin Vassell out. I would swap Mikal Bridges, and I would have Devin Vassell on our squad. Now I know today, Mikal Bridges looked like the better player, but overall Devin Vassell's on a cheaper contract and is very good defensively as well. But yeah, if we could redo the Obi draft, I know they weren't sure about Randall. Randall then had the most improved All-Star year, but I think Halliburton made the most sense at the time. Devin Vassell, and I know Denny is starting to come good too. Tyler Kolek is looking like a good draft pick, though. I think Tyler's going to be in the league for a long time, fam. So let's refresh now, and I think defensive player of the game should be out. And yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen, it is. Dialing up our New York Knicks defensive player of the game. Speak of the devil, Mitty Mikal Bridges. Welcome back, fam. Wing stop. All you can eat. You got Deuce in the background. You got McCullough there. Diwara, Hukporty, Sohan. Cat Alvarado's in it. You love to see that. Clarkson sort of cut out a little bit. Doesn't look too giddy right now. But Landry, front and foremost as well. Looking good in the locker room. Tyler Kolek there as well. Mikal Bridges came to play in the big game, fam. Is that one of the reasons why Mikal Bridges is ducking contact, and that is he holding some gas into the tank for these playoff games, right? He did it against Boston. He's done it in the past. Today was the highest level lockdown perimeter defense. 5 first-round pick Mikal Bridges. Right. If we get this level of Mikal Bridges in the playoffs, there'll be no complaints from me. Zero. I don't care what he's getting paid. Right. If he's producing, it don't even matter what he's getting paid. We just want him to produce. And it was an all-you-can-eat a Wingstop buffet in this one. Yeah, Ephraim says, exactly, confidence through the roof. Yeah, good chemistry. That's what I'm saying, that you might not cut Clarkson right now because you got to integrate a brand new personality, and it's late in the piece right now. As long as Clarkson ain't pouting, we don't want to be bringing the vibes down. AP says Leon had made a few mistakes, a lot of mistakes in the first round. IQ was his best pick. Yeah, that's fair. IQ, there was a risk attached to that. We turned RJ and IQ into one of the best wings in the league. So that did help us out a lot. I still think Tyrese Maxey obviously was the better pick over IQ, but IQ was a very, very solid pick. Quentin Grimes was a solid pick. I just think Thibodeau messed that up. Thibodeau just couldn't quite help Grimes in the development. Couldn't get his confidence going. AP Jose looks like he's from New York. Yeah, he lives, eats, breathes this situation right now. I trust Tyler to run the offense. 100%. Old says, for sure, Bridges is pacing his game. Yeah, like a savvy vet. savvy veteran. I would believe that. I think it's believable. Now it is frustrating in certain regular season matchups, but he is saving his energy for the big games. Plays every game, and if he plays with a head of steam and gets to the rack like he did today, like Jose as well. Here it is, another great cut. He was above the rim, Mikal Bridges today. Johnny Chiba adds to Bridges' game depending on other players getting him the rock and integrating his defense in there. Yeah, I think getting him off point of attack where his strengths lie defending in passing lanes, defending, in the help areas. That's where Mikal Bridges is elite. OG Anunoby can tackle the point of attack assignments. So can Diwara. So can Deuce Alvarado and Landry Shamet and Jeremy Sohan. So it's about getting guys in the right spots. Mikal Bridges had struggled last season at the point of attack. I think that's why he had friction with Tommy Thibodeau. Thomas Thibodeau just kept pushing the Mikal Bridges point of attack, and he was getting caught up on every single ball screen. He was copping a beating, was Mikal Bridges. So I think it's another adjustment Mike Brown has made that has also helped out. There has been some subtle adjustments with Mike Brown and Thomas Thibodeau, but ultimately it ain't going to be determined until the playoffs. But so far, Mike Brown does get a tick for the regular season, right? There's been some adjustments from Tibbs. We're about the same record as we were with Thibodeau, so there's been no regression. I know a lot of people want more enhancements, but I think the regular season is tricky. 82 games, you got to stay healthy. We have had some injuries, and we've also, had a tough, situation around the league as well, with some other teams stepping up too. We didn't have Landry a lot last season though, so Tibbs was missing a lot of his bench. The Alvarado pickup is made up for the loss of campaign. Mo Diawara is making up for the loss of Precious Achua. So we are so much stronger than last season as a team in terms of depth. Grimes could make it back to NYC, says Shezvi. AP says we didn't have the money to sign Grimes back. Yeah, that was fair point. I just think the way we use Grimes, we could have been more patient. He's exactly what we need for the point of attack defense, but we drafted a cheaper Grimes with Mo Diawara with higher upside. So that's a good one as well. Russell Thomas, salute. Go Knicks. Statement win. 114-89. Man, you guys are on fire. Blessings on this Sunday, as the Knicks had one of their best games on the season, and everyone looked locked in, which is the great thing about this win, fam. With just over 20 games remaining, we've got a couple of really tough ones coming up, but we have a 3-game buffer on the in the third spot, fam, over Cleveland. Let's see how we do in the next 3. We've got Raptors, Thunder, Denver Nuggets, the LA trip, Utah, Indiana. I want to get revenge on Indiana. Right. I think they'll probably roll over and die in that one. Indiana's statement was to come into Madison Square Garden and try to win that one. Indiana don't want to win any more games now, I don't think. So I think they're going to roll over and die in that one. Utah's already rolled over. So we should end the West Coast trip strong. But to begin, Denver, LA, Clippers, that's tough. And the Raptors up on Tuesday. OKC after that. Vaughn Allen's in the house. Salute. Shaman and Modi continue to astound and bound. Balling out to combine their 2 salaries, fam. What production we're getting out of a 2nd-round draft pick minimum rookie and a vets minimum rookie Landry Shamet. Right. 2 major parts of our rotation on a championship squad. Man, that's great front officing. That's great you know, hierarchy, decision making, and all of that, drafting and signing, right? Does Leon get executive of the year? You know, if we win the championship, if we get to the NBA finals, you know, think about it, guys. If we end up getting to the finals or winning the championship, that'll mean Alvarado was a big pickup, or Sohan helped. Diwara would have helped. You know, the Mikal Bridges moves, all of that. Diwara signings, you know, would have come to fruition. Now, some of these summer signings with Yabu and Clarkson haven't quite worked out, but they've corrected that. They've rectified that. When it comes to Modi, when it comes to Alvarado, picking him up as well. Old says, good to hear. All I care about is destroying Indiana. Yeah, you know, they were so calculated by winning that game at Madison Square Garden and then basically sitting everyone the following day or the following game. They sat everyone. Siakam, Nembhard, Neesmith, Ben Shepherd. They sat everyone right after beating the Knicks. It was a statement, but it was lame because all they did was play their hardest. They saved up all their energy for that one game because they're tanking, right? But they'll probably roll over and die in the next one. Yeah, these back-to-backs, they're tough. Pete says, what happened to Wemby today? 15, minus 15. Knicks swarming defense, you know. Welcome to the league, Wemby. I know everyone's ready to crown him the MVP, defensive player of the season, and all of that. Well, he's still got ways to go, does Wemby, right? Doesn't play as physical at times. OG was able to rough him up and get him off his spot. But how about these matchups, man? Because the Pistons can't handle the Pistons can't handle Spurs, right? We handle the Spurs almost 3 times this season, right? But the Knicks have failed to handle the Pistons. So how does that work out? You know, how is that going to work out in the end? I need our Knicks to come correct against the Pistons, man. Because it doesn't make sense, right? Yeah, styles make fights. But our New York Knicks have clowned the Spurs, man, twice, almost 3 times out of 3. And the Knicks have got clowned by the Pistons, and the Spurs have clowned the Pistons too. So I think where I see it, guys, is the Pistons had a good performance against the Knicks with guarding Brunson. The Knicks have had a good game guarding Wemby, and Wemby has had a good game against the Pistons, where the Pistons have just been unable to keep Wemby in check, whereas the New York Knicks have the personnel to keep Wemby in check. The Knicks have not been able to keep Cade in check, but we do have, the positive thing is we do have the soldiers, we do have the personnel, I think, to keep Cade in check. We just have to do it. We just have to execute. You know, we have to execute better. And Cat has to have a good game against Detroit, because just the way they are designed to slow Brunson down and collapse onto Brunson, it's essential that Karl Anthony Towns, fam, has a good game against Detroit. Pete says OG handled him good. Home run hitters says Knicks defense, yep, hit Victor, closed him down, shut him down. Knicks healthy team will sweep Detroit. I hope so. I think we're capable. Yeah, we just need to see this version of the Knicks keep it locked in. Shez V says, I think just keeping Sohan here may have sparked something in the other players. Hopefully he just gets under the skin of Cade. You know, you saw that brief matchup where Cade did get frustrated with Sohan. Just got a physical with him. The same way they get physical with Brunson, with Orsar. We got to get physical with Cade. Now, he's a bigger dude. He's got stronger and all of that. We just got to be physical on him, man. Throw Diwara at him, throw length, OG, and throw Jeremy Sohan at him, man. We've got a three-headed monster we can put on to Cade. And look, with respect to Jaylen Brown, if Mo D can shut down Jaylen Brown, he definitely can shut down Cade. Right. Jaylen Brown's having a hell of a season, arguably a better season than Cade, arguably. Now it's a close tie. But if Diwara, who could shut down Jaylen Brown, who's also as big and physical, he could definitely help shut down Cade, in my opinion. Now, where Cade has it over Jaylen Brown is he's more crafty with the point guard skills. He's got a better handle, he's got better court vision, and he's able to make you pay. But if the Knicks are locked in like this with McCall in the passing lanes, juiced up, amped up, he had a full battery, man. He had full battery life today, did Mikal Bridges. So whatever you're on the Android, Galaxy, or the Apple iPhone, whatever it is, man, we all love the full battery life, fam. When Wingstop came out, they came out with a battery pack supercharged up too. And they weren't saving no energy in this one. AP says, poor Colin Sexton can't seem to find himself on a winning team. Yeah, you know what? On that note, I want to shout out to Charlotte Hornets because they picked up my guy Kobe White. What a pickup that was. Kobe White got off the losing franchise, Chicago. And don't look now, but the Charlotte Hornets are about to catch the Miami Heat. They're about to catch the Orlando Tragic. And they might even catch Philly in the 6th spot. Right, let's do the math, right? So Philly are at 11.5 games back of the first seed. Right? The Charlotte Hornets are 15.5 games back. So 4 games. It's possible, man. That's the 6th spot though. That's unfathomable from the start of the season, where Charlotte might make the playoffs. They'll definitely make the play-in. They might even finish 7th. With Orlando, they are only 2.5 games back of 7 Orlando Magic. The Hornets are 2.5 games back of 7, right? They got Kobe White now, which has been a big boost coming off their bench, right? He's a starting caliber guy coming off their bench now. They've got LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Con Kneppel, right? Grant Williams and Musa Diabate and Miles Bridges, Kobe White. And they've got Trey Mann and Josh Green. They've got depth right now. So I think Charlotte could be dangerous against some of these teams, man, in the first round. What do you guys think about the Charlotte Hornets? Because I think they're going to give some teams some headaches, fam, if they can stay healthy. Pete says Pistons and Cleveland look better than the Knicks. I think in the matchups they have looked better, but I don't think the Knicks have brought the right level of intensity to those matchups, the right level of energy that we saw today. But also tough matchups as well with good ball handling situations at the guard spots. San Antonio is still very young in the guards, and the Knicks have been able to find success against Steph Castle, Dylan Harper, and those boys. But yeah, Brunson's really come to play the last 2. The 3 ball, as I said, guys, is critical to Brunson's game and opening up the Knicks offense. When Brunson hesitates, dribbles too much, we get into a funk, right? When Brunson's swishing the 3 ball, 4 of 7 today, 57%. He has his way. He can do whatever he likes if the 3 ball goes down, because teams just have too much to worry about. It's like, is Brunson going to pull up from 3? If you close out hard or you fight over the screen, he's going to go under He's going to get around the screen and get downhill. And then he's got you on his hip. So Jalen Brunson is impossible to guard when he's knocking the 3 ball down. Because you close out, you fight over the pick, and he'll get into the paint. And he's got the floater game. He'll kick it out. Literally the world is his oyster when he's knocking the 3 ball down. Now, when he's hesitant knocking the 3 ball down or shooting, and he's meandering and he's dribbling too much and the defense is collapsing and all of that, then it's tricky, man. That's when we really need Karl Anthony Towns to unlock the other part of the offense. Ephraim Mendez says, the roster is set. Personal can do better at job. Different animal playoff, no fouls. Yep, different animal. Yep, physicality, less fouls being called. But I do think that Nick's got to do a better job of manipulating against physical defenses, Brunson is the best at getting team players into foul trouble. We need him to be crafty and savvy when it comes to the playoffs. But still, a healthy Knicks team will sweep Detroit, says Home Run Hitters. I think we could have played Detroit so much better last playoffs. I think we're such a better team as well, just off the bench, more personnel with Alvarado, Shamet. Remember, Shamet wasn't even in the rotation against Detroit. Think about that for a second. Let that sink in. Thibodeau wasn't even playing Landry Shamet. He was literally going Precious, Campaign, Mitchell Robinson. He wasn't playing DeLon Wright. And he might have been playing Precious a little too much at that point. We had funky floor spacing. That's why that Detroit series looks so just funky, man. And that was all on Thibodeau. That's why Tibbs is out of here, man. He took too long to adjust, in my opinion. And we started to look better when guys started to play more minutes with Shamet and these guys. Our bench, man, is more dangerous. We are more healthy as well. Outside of Deuce McBride, we are fully healthy, fam, and clicking at the right time. It's been great breaking this down with you all, with the live chat, the best in the biz. Replay squad salute on this early post game with the Knicks breaking records. Cat 16,000 career points. New York Knicks holding San Antonio to 89 points, the lowest on their season, forcing the San Antonio Spurs, fam, into the most turnovers, 22 on the season, man. 22 turnovers. Like, we had them all up in a funk, seeing stars out there. They were dazed. Even Victor Wembanyama looked scared out there. Right, he was getting off of the ball quickly, turning it over. He was hurting them. But our defense, man, was all the way locked in too. And when they're engaged, clicking on all cylinders, like the chat says, it's big time. D. Grant joining us says, I still say Cat is the key to winning the championship. He is super key. I agree. I think Cat key against Detroit more so than any other squad. And potentially Boston, I'm not overlooking Boston just yet. Cleveland doesn't scare me. Damn, Cleveland does not scare me one bit. Philly doesn't scare me. Toronto, Miami, Orlando, none of these teams scare me. The teams I got the most respect for is Boston, because they've been there, they've done it, And also, another team is Detroit, who deserve respect based on their season. But they will be tough in the Eastern Conference Finals if they get there. If they get there, fam. Maybe Cleveland end up taking them down. Might be a Knicks Boston, but Cleveland might take Detroit down as well. we'll see. We'll see how that all plays out, man. But we'll be live post-game against the Raptors Tuesday night, 7:30 tip. There's two. Ephraim, blessings to you and family. Blessings, prayers up to everyone. Pray for peace, Queen's Place, 100%. Keep everyone in your prayers, thoughts, loved ones as well. Take care of family, and I'll let your friends and family know that you are here. You care about them as well. And our New York Knicks got us up in this one today, 39-22. We might be joining the 40-22 club, and I think we will. I think we'll beat the Raptors. I think the Spurs one is going to be, the Thunder one is going to be tricky on the second night of a back-to-back. But it depends on who plays, you know. Maybe Shea doesn't play that game, right? They are starting to rest some of their guys. And then we'll end up facing the feisty Joker out in the Rockies as well on Friday. Y'all saw that fight between the Joker and Jay Will getting into it, right? Those guys are in playoff mode, and so are our New York Knicks, locking all the way in on this big win, man. We'll see you on the next one, everyone. Peace.